Hello, my name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's the phenomenal STEMist. How is everybody doing? Why is Bryant the front screen? It's me. It's me. I'm supposed to be Bryant.
Okay.
Bryant,
Oh,
what's up? What?
oh, let's not even start that. I'm just going. I'll wait till we get started before I start talking.
Hey. I have it this way because Howard's on black screen. It looks better this way. Howard, what's going on? Kemoy, what's going on? Bryant, what's going on? It's the phenomenal STEMist. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Out and about.
Howard is a daddy, y'all. He has 4 kids with four preteens, elementary and teenagers, man. They doing soccer, basketball, volleyball. Well, just soccer and volleyball, really, right? Any other
Yep.
sport? Soccer and volleyball. It's a Sunday. So I just appreciate him coming out. He'll be on video soon. Come on, what's going on?
I'm good. I got some good sleep last night.
I saw you at church but I came late. I came for the haystacks, really. I didn't. So I came late and I was sitting in the back and I saw you up front and then I was the first one in line for the haystack. So 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 you didn't stay for haystack, so I didn't see you. I'm glad you are rested. I'm glad you are rested. Mr. Bryant, sir, senior, how are you?
3 minutes ago, I was living my best life. Now, I guess I'm not. Uh, I don't know why. Just some darkness just came over me.
I know you. I'm sorry. I took you out the front screen. I took you out the front screen, but we're back now. We're back now. We're in the front. Everybody is together. How is that? How do you feel now, Brian?
I feel like Harold Melvin. If
From the
anybody know that, when Teddy P came and he started singing, Harold Melvin went to the back. His name was there,
yeah.
but he was no longer important.
Uh-huh. Howard, listen. Is Melvin is Harold Melvin the same person from the Blue Notes?
Yes. See, that's why if you
So
gotta
he
say
so
that,
so basically he left the crew
no,
and
he didn't leave
started
the
his
crew.
own
He
crew.
founded the crew. No, he founded the crew.
Oh, that's
And
right.
Teddy Pendergrass was
Went
originally a
solo.
drummer.
That's
And
right.
then they had him sing solo. And then,
It was
he
over.
it was still Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, but no one cared about Harold Melvin. They
Okay.
pushed that man to the back. So why don't you just push me to the back? Was there a smaller
Got
square?
I'm gonna put you back now because Howard is back on and on not video again. So we back at it again. Listen, we're talking about a very important conversation. Very important conversation today. So shout out to everybody who's watching. Let me pay attention to the chat. I know my number one fan is watching. There she is. Her name is Pat Byfield, But I see other people watching, so uh please go ahead and comment in the chat because I feel like every college graduate had most college graduates, especially the ones of color, have a debt story. So today's conversation is about student debt in STEM, what professionals wish they knew before borrowing. I'm so passionate about financial literacy. I'm very passionate. And today is a conversation of connection between STEM and financial literacy. And so I'll just get started. The first question I have is, um, when did you first realize the true impact of your debt, your student debt? When did you first realize it?
When the first bill came.
When the first bill came. So just to remind you guys who's talking, we got Dr. Kamoy Harris. So she's a physician. All right. So I don't know how much debt she incurred throughout her lifetime, but she went through undergraduate school. I think for free though. I know your story a little bit. That's an awesome story. But anyway, undergraduate, she got a bachelor's degree, and then she went to medical school, and so she has an MD degree. Howard has a bachelor's degree in microbiology, but he is and he also went through graduate schools, and he's currently in graduate school for in the social sciences and psychology, clinical counseling. Bryant has a undergraduate degree, not necessarily in STEM, and then he has an MBA. I'm not familiar what the MBA is. I'm talking to y'all like y'all not here, but I'm just gonna do it real quick. He has an MBA, but I love his story because he moved through the public health system, governmental health system, and got a master's degree. So we all, and I myself have a bachelor's, master's, and PhD. So we're highly educated individuals, and we went through a lot of schooling. Brian, you look like you want to say something. I need to see you closer though. I'm gonna have to suck it up and put it like this, even though it don't look good. Howard, are you coming anytime soon? Howard, you're on mute, and I might have.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Are you on a video anytime soon?
Yes, very soon.
Okay, okay. Go ahead. Brian, you look like you wanted to say something.
Okay. Let's see. I did, and I enjoy that word. Did I did have student loans?
Did.
I
Did.
I had about $190,000 in student loans. Yes, because I chose to
Whoa.
go to a school that did not give me a free ride, giving up a free ride at another school. Um, I did not understand student loans, and when I first got out, I did deferment. I think I did deferment. The maximum amount of time you could do was 2 years. So I deferred and deferred because I was like, this is unrealistic. And at that time, when I got out of undergrad, I think it might have been like 70,000. But then I chose to go to a online college for actually my master's in human resources management. And what I did not know, and I wish I would have known, is that while you are allowed to take X amount of dollars, you really should take what you need. But I was using the refund to supplement my lifestyle. And
Speak on it.
certain things when you come from the inner city that you you think is nice and shiny, and it is. That euphoric feeling of being able to get it when you want it and not have to wait put aside, save for it, all that stuff. It was cool. I enjoyed the thrill of the moment, but at the end of the day, um, that 190,000, it hit me when I started to think about getting married, and I was like, how am I going to explain this amount of debt? It wasn't a house, and some people say student loan debt is good. I mean, it helps get education, but it also costs. And I had this terrible relationship at the time. Her name was Sally Mae. Oh, Sally did stuff to me. And so yeah, it was tough. I had to have a sense of humility and talk to my wife, now wife of over 13 years, about it. And thankfully, one of the reasons why I went into public health was because there was a student, it was a public servant loan forgiveness program where if you made 10 years of on time payments, and it didn't matter if it touched the principal or the interest. And I had so much that I was only touching interest, and it was around between 700 to $1,000 a month that I had to
Woo!
pay. Yes. Yeah, we need to shout. But about 2 years ago, I received a letter saying that my student loans were forgiven. Let me tell y'all, I cried. Oh, because I thought the Lord was coming before those student loans would ever get paid off. So once I saw that letter, I looked up. I was like, okay, you can come now, because I done seen, just in case I don't make it, I done seen heaven for a second. But I wish I would have known, to bring things back to answer your question. I wish I would have known how to manage the excess a little wiser, so that I wasn't buying immediate gratification, but thinking about, all right, can I leverage some of their money to pay them back, or um, you know, only take out exactly what I needed and not be like, oh, this 15 or this $5,000 check, yeah, that's money for me. So that's what I wish I would have known. Somebody tell me to stop.
Yeah, and somebody have mercy. I first realized the true impact of my debt my senior year in college. Actually, I just I don't know. I didn't have much, so I only took out $15,000 for Oakwood. I did get some scholarship. Yeah, 15,000. I only took. I made a decision in undergrad, and we went to school the same time. So I don't know what was going on, and I didn't get that much
A
scholarships from Oakwood,
$200 scholarship for
huh?
having a 3 point. I had a $200 scholarship to go to Oakwood
And I
for
got a
having a
thousand
3.45 GPA. Yet
$200.
somebody who was a parliamentarian got 2 grand. I was like, so you just got to keep order. Good grades mean nothing. But I digress.
Did you get a $200 that was rolling over like every year?
What does
Or
two
was
hundred dollars do?
I'm just asking, is that the case?
I don't even know. That's how low it was
Probably,
compared to
probably,
my tuition.
probably you did. I got 1,000. So you got
I did
200.
more
I got
work study.
1,000.
I didn't do work study. I did work study, something to pay off some of that.
Right. So this is what I did at Oakwood. We both, myself and Bryant, went to Oakwood College, now university. Shout out to alumni weekend next weekend. I'm not gonna be there, but y'all have a good time. Um, $1,000 scholarship. So it cost about $10,000 to $12,000 a year to go to Oakwood at that time. And I got $1,000 off, right? So let's say it's $9,000. And then I did work study. Did work study. So took about $1,000 off. I don't remember. And then I did the Stafford subsidized student loan. That's it. I was not doing unsubsidized. I was not doing Parent Plus loans. Shout out to my mother. My mother really was a stickler for no credit cards, no debt, right? So I think I got $8,000 at the time for Stafford subsidized. So that's it. So I was doing okay pretty much every semester. So I took about like I think it was even less than 8,000. I think 8,000 was probably my financial aid package maybe. So but basically $15,000 after 4 years is what I had. And I said, this is too much. I said $15,000 is too much. And I said, I'm not paying for college anymore. I actually did not go to medical school. Not I didn't try to go to medical school because I did not want the levels of debt. And I did not love medicine that much. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Like if I didn't love medicine, so I would only go because I'm smart. And I'm like, so why? If I don't want to do it, and I'm gonna be paying out the wazoo for it, why do that? So my senior year was a decision maker, and then I found out I could go to medical school for a PhD. Shout out to myself and Kamoy. We went to the same medical school. She got an MD at Albert Einstein College of Medicine. I got a PhD. She had to take out loans from Albert Einstein College of Medicine. I went there for free. Matter of fact, they paid me to go to Einstein. I got a $25,000 a year stipend plus full tuition because I was like, no, I'm going that route. My senior year in college, that's when I realized the impact, and I'm grateful for it. Howie, when did you realize? So Kamoy said when she started paying the bills. Unless, do you want to say anything else other than that, Kamoy? You pretty much clear on that.
Well, you know what? At that time, I think the advice was, because I saw a lot of advice coming up, and the advice at that time was, don't worry about it. You'll be able to pay it back.
Yeah.
And I agree with that partially. I think you need to have a plan to pay it back, because if you don't have a plan, I mean, I know a lot of colleagues who are still, under a lot of debt, because they don't have a strategy for it. So, but yes.
When you started paying that bill, you're like, wait a second. Wait a minute. Howie, you're on mute. Just let you know.
Yeah. I mean, so I went to UMass Amherst. I went to a state institution, state college, but it wasn't my state.
Right.
I'm in, I'm a New Yorker, and literally, many of us that I went to school with, we just didn't really want to stay in New York, to go to school. The idea was, um, I, I really didn't think that much about the finances, actually. My parents had pretty stable work, and we're in a middle class family. We grew up in, and so the idea really was to, hey, bro, go where you want. And like Moy said, it's like, we'll pay for it. You pay for it later. Like, you know what I mean? That was the mindset. Go and get that education. Go where you want. Like I've said before, my program, that school was one of the only schools that offered that program, um, for microbiology. So that's where I went. And even because it was a state school and not a private school, I had many admissions to private schools, um, with no scholarships. Really, they gave a little something for academic scholarships, but if you come when you compare the two, so it wasn't like I didn't do any math. Like, when I compared the two, between the state school, what they offered, versus, with the out of state tuition and everything, versus these private institutions that cost so much more, but were actually private colleges, and not necessarily the university notoriety, where you have that, that graduate aspect that you could have access to. I chose to go, where these professors are with graduate programs and so forth. So once the and so it was a mixture, right? Subsidized. I don't even remember the terminologies. I'm glad y'all are bringing them up. Subsidized and unsubsidized. So the loans were my parents' loans. So it was like half and half. Half of my
Mhm.
parents, half of mine. So I would say, once I got once I started working, then I said, my big thing was that I want to take the burden off my parents.
Got you.
So I was still living at home when I started working. I started working right off of undergrad. So I wasn't focusing on kicking it out as quick as possible, but I was definitely focusing on covering it for them. So I was covering mine as well as their portion. And I think, yeah, I think I didn't get serious about getting it under wraps until maybe about through 2 or 3 years into marriage, when we determined that, hey, we want to get rid of our debt. And that's when I was like, man, there's this lingering student loan out there that's like, I was getting at it. I was getting at it. It was dwindling, but there wasn't a plan to get rid of it. So that's when I finally said, I'm gonna knock this thing out so that we can focus on some bigger things.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's awesome. So I'm hearing from the guy's perspective. Well, both of you guys are married. That it was when you had a family, when you marriage and family, you were thinking about that. I thought that was good. Um, did your student loans influence the career path you chose? Did it influence your career path? Shout out to Deandra Collins. She said the labor credit. That's the work study. That was just going to your bill. Like, yeah, that was awesome, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to 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 knock out my loans. I had to make the decision to just pay it off. I was investing in the stock market at the time, and I said, you know what? Why am I investing in the stock market when I'm a slave to debt? So I sold my stocks and paid off all of my debt. That's what happened. Like right before, anyway, that's what I had to I just put I got into priority mode and said, let me pay off my debt before I start really getting more and more into the stock market. Um yeah, did they influence the way you chose your path? No. Maybe because I had no big debt. So when I got out of graduate school, well, actually, yes, because I didn't go to med school. I moved to grad school because I was like, no, I'm not getting any more debt. So I guess that's me. But then once I got out of grad school, it's like I could do whatever I want. I only have $15,000 worth of student debt. Like that wasn't a lot of money. So I felt like I felt free to go into academia because I didn't feel like I had any pressure financially. What about you guys?
Not for me. At least it didn't influence, my choice to go into medicine or, um, where I ended up, in terms of my specialty. But it absolutely influenced where I chose to work afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, because I knew that, if I decided that I was going to take a certain kind of job that didn't pay a lot of money, I would struggle to pay the student loans back. So I wanted to try to get the job that would, you know, pay me the most amount while, I'm still able to, um, achieve my goals of serving a certain patient population, and get rid of these loans. Because, this time, my friends are now moved on. They're done with college. They've started their lives.
They live in.
I'm still here, on the struggle bus. So there's that aspect of just not being able to, get nice, flashy things. I'm like, I need to make some money. So that definitely did influence that.
Got you. It influenced how the job. Yep, that's true. Anybody, gentlemen?
yeah, I would say I was always I think I was always banking on STEM, um on this direction into the sciences. I think my mindset was always, it's going to work out in the long run. And um again, like we said earlier, as long as you get a footing, then you should be able to, pay it all back. So I was confident. I was confident that going in this direction would pay it off, would pay it back. It would pay it forward.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned earlier about, so my undergrad was pretty much taken care of. And then when I started doing graduate study and did a graduate certificate and so forth, I was like, man, I ain't doing loans again. Like, once I got a paycheck and I had a stable job, I really, even now, the graduate program that I'm in, it's out of pocket. It's out of pocket. I'm paying it directly. Because if I have it, let me just, I'm not gonna go back into the loan situation.
Love it, love it. Bryant, I hope that I hope people are listening because I feel like this is the theme for what we're saying. If you have it, don't take a loan, or if you don't need it, don't take excessive loans. Don't This is a common thing that it happens in the college level. To get that refund, you taking out massive amounts of loan for the refund, not realizing you're going to owe that money back. Don't do that. Bryant.
Yeah. My family, and even say my parents, they were public servants. And here in the district, the biggest employer was the federal government. So I knew somehow the government was the safest choice to make. And most people who pick civil servant jobs, it's not about making money. It's really about security. And so, as long as we had money coming in, we were able to pay. My parents, specifically my mom, she took out a Parent Plus loan. Um, uh, we tried Pell Grants, but there wasn't enough to go around at that time. I think I took the worst of the loans. I think that's what is it? Subsidized loans. It was
Unsubsidized.
whichever was the worst. We were just
Private.
taking anything.
Private is the word.
Um, okay, well, we didn't take private.
Okay,
We dealt with the
unsubsidized.
Department of Education. So we just took whatever we could in order to get in, because there was no one in our family that had achieved that level at that time. So, or most of them went to community college, which is not a bad thing. I always suggest take the first 2 years of community college, but make sure that they're classes that transfer or credits that can transfer to your 4 year college.
Which they definitely
Um,
do.
yeah, so it was no, just poor financial decision, the lack of experience, not having a group like this, not having a forum like this in order to talk about the realities. Because when you're used to having without, as soon as you get, you don't really know how to act. And it's a survival mode. It is it is crazy how the system is designed in order to keep you down. But this is not what this is about. Let me cheer people up. However, you need to get education, you need to get it. You need to chart down how you are going to get it and how you're going to repay it and what you're going to need to do in order to repay it. That's what we're talking about, people. Look at that. I can't remember the question you asked me because I got in my feelings when we talked about the student loans and the amount of debt and how I've overcome. Because this was very this is the one topic I feel comfortable with. We're not talking about bringing science and pouring stuff together. We talking about debt. And we
Listen,
talking about overcoming, and we're talking about sharing the stories that we've learned about it. But because I knew of the public servant loan forgiveness program, helped me solidify going to the federal government, because originally I tried the military and they told me no. So thank to God that Department of Health and Human Services was the first one to accept me. And thanks to whoever told me about the public servant loan forgiveness program that I didn't know about till maybe 10 years into my federal life, to then apply and make sure that I was doing what I needed to do. Didn't want to do it, but I needed to do it in order to get to the point that I'm at now, where I can say I'm student loan debt free.
debt free, debt free. What's critical to what you're saying though, as second generation um college graduates, or like to you said, my people didn't do this or they went to community college. I wonder if we're trying to overcome something that works for the masses and they're not letting us know. So my mother went to community college as well. She went to community college. Then she went to CUNY. She went to Richmond and Staten Island. Similar to Kamoy's story, right? So that's cheap at that time. Is almost free back then. And then she went to NYU to get a master's degree, right? That's the way. Like we now like but when we went to school, it's like, "Oh, I don't need community college. I'll go straight to, you know, university." Right? And we're paying all this money when we literally I'm telling students now, community college, state university, and get scholarships to go to grad school. Get other people to pay you to go to school. Curtis says, put the 529 in, you know? So back in the day, our parents couldn't afford to put us through school. But now, to reduce our tax burden, create 529 plans and put your money in the market. Max out your 529. I was just talking about this earlier. It's time that we max out everything. Your health savings account, max it out. Your Roth IRA, max it out. Get a side hustle, max out your 401k. Like, put all this money away, lower your tax burden, or find ways to put your money in that you don't have access to. Cuz when you have access to money, you spend it. Like it's and like I said before, find ways to finance your education that are not the typical way, but are really the typical way. Well, no, what I mean by that, back in the 60s, that's what they did. They went to state schools. They went to schools for free. Remember, they say it all the time. Back in the day, college was free. It was. It was free. And honestly, right now, it is free. But we think that it's not good enough. And so we're trying to go other places and we're paying out the wazoo while, trust me, folk are still going to school for free right now. I have a question. What is one thing you wish you understood before borrowing money for school?
Before you move on,
Mhm.
I wanted to ask about the public student loan forgiveness program. Is that still active? I feel like they have. I know, like for people who are already enrolled, they'll honor it, but for new people, are they? Do you know, Brian, if that's still? Because I know a lot of physicians that were able to get their loans forgiven that way. Um, I thought that there was an issue with it not no longer being a thing.
Let's see. Internet connections acting up, but I believe you asked if the public servant loan forgiveness program is still viable.
Yeah.
Um, that honestly, I don't know. But for those that are in the healthcare field, and I remember saying this a couple of podcasts ago, that there is the check with BHW Behavioral Health Workforce. There are some grants, and there now what they'll have to do is they'll have to work at a community health center. And they're all over the United States. There's at least 1,400 and some health centers. And so when you work at a health center, there is a type of program that those who are in the healthcare field can get their students either reduced. There's an option. But as far as the public servant loan forgiveness, I don't know, because the Department of Education, the way they are structured right now, a lot of their activities have been divvied up into other areas, and I believe the at least student loans are over with the Department of Treasury. So you have individuals who look at probably my assumption. This is Bryant. Assumption is that the Treasury, they may not be as sympathetic to educational debt as those who are in the Department of Education. So I would tell you to have them just to go online to look up what is it, PSLF, Public Servant Loan Forgiveness. Try that, and then if not, route is to try to align themselves with a health center in order to ask them about their program, where if you work maybe 3 to 5 years there, your loans, I believe, become forgiven.
So I'm looking. I like Perplexity. Lost them just in time. I
Mhm.
like Perplexity. Perplexity says it's still alive. There are some new rules that are taking place July to 2026. I asked what the new rule is. The new rule is that PSLF employer eligibility lets the education department disqualify certain government or nonprofit employees if it decides they have a substantial illegal purpose. So they're just getting a little bit more regulated, even though these people feel that they shouldn't be involved in regulation. Somehow they're a little bit more regulated. Um, but it's still alive and well.
Good to know.
And yeah, because I wanted to, yeah, and I wanted to comment on that real quick because being a part of DHHS, I technically also would have benefited from it, but I was one of those people who got everything knocked out right before, maybe about a year or two before um, they instituted it. So I was just like, just missed it, you know. But a lot of people in my agency definitely benefited from that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but to your point, I think your larger point, Kamoy, is that a lot of the things that we had access to seems to be at risk.
Absolutely.
But what I've learned is you got to follow the money. They don't. The money is not going away. They're just rerouting it. So,
Correct.
for instance, physicians, they're really looking for physicians to start practices and things like that in rural communities, and they'll throw money at you there. So it's not that the money is being taken; it's being rerouted, and you just have to find where the money is rerouted. Find ways to pay your bills. The money
No,
is
but
out there. Go ahead, Howie.
one of the things to answer that, the question that you had, I definitely realized way later on. I think while I was in college, that's when I started to, because I was still trying to figure out, what could I possibly get moving forward with with my performance in school, for the next year and so forth, right? And that's when I started to realize that, oh my gosh, if I what I had wished I had known before is, really how to hone in on finding these resources that you're saying. Like there is so much out there, so many people who are just willing to give money away. So it's really just a matter of doing the research and finding. I wasn't so aware of it back then. So
Mhm.
that's one of the benefits to knowing or having a really good idea as to what direction you want to go in, because then you can really cast the net out and research that particular area, and there can be so much that's available for you, as a, I mean, back in the day, I don't know how prevalent they are right now, but back in the day it would be, as a black male, let's say, looking at STEM, you used to be able to find programs that were available, people who wanted to pour into that. um
So now
so
you just switch to as a rural, and that obviously won't be us because we're not rural, we're urban. But for instance, most African Americans live in the rural South, and so shout outs to anybody who's watching. I want you to share this. Any person in the rural South, money is being thrown at you right now. They're thrown at you, not to you though. They're thrown to Appalachia. But the thing is, you live in the rural South too. And so they can't take your money. They can't take it from you if you apply. They're just hoping that you won't. So shout out to all the African Americans that live in this country. Majority of us are centralized in the rural South. You can get access to funding. Those who want to serve African Americans, we need to probably shift our mindset, do telehealth, mobile, shift our mindset to serve the rural South. You want to still serve black people, but you know they're trying to take money from urban? That's cool. Majority of black people live in the rural South. Shift your mindset. And okay, I know you don't want to live in the rural South, then do mobile, do telehealth. We got to shift. And to Howard's point about finding the resources and casting the net, now is the you know why it's the easiest way to cast a net to find these ways? What do you think is the easiest way to get this information? Art of AI, artificial intelligence. Get on Perplexity, get on Google Notebook LM, cast a wide net. Come on, y'all. Listen, the money is out there. They're taking it from us, funneling it to other places, but we're there too. We just have to not be afraid And that I think that's is so critical. We can't give up. We can't give up. Um, New question. How? Did everybody ask this question? I think I wish I knew that I should pay off my loans while in deferment. While in deferment, that I wish I had. I was in school. I only had loans for Oakwood, and I don't know if did Brian get back in? I don't think he's back in. Something happened. I only had loans while in Oakwood, but since I was in graduate school for 6 years, I could defer, and I deferred the $15,000 till after the 6 years. Really, if I had just said pay $200 a month for 6 years, I would have paid off my loans in that 6 years at 0%. But I waited in deferment to pay off the loans after, and I was getting accruing interest. So I had wish I had known that you could pay off your loans while you're in deferment. Yeah. I think everybody did anybody else answer that question? What I know Howard wish answered what you wish you knew, but we can move on. How has student debt affected your lifestyle or financial decisions after graduation? How has it affected your lifestyle? So, shout out to me. I'm not debt. I don't have any student loan debt. Here, Brian's back.
Repeat the question one more time.
How has student loan debt affected your lifestyle or financial decisions after graduation? So, I only had $100 a month to pay. So I felt I was lazy, to be honest. I felt like since I didn't have a lot of student loan debt, I let it I let it just I paid the minimum. I didn't respect it, not realizing $15,000 and I had a low interest rate. It was like 3.5%. Man, 3.3% of $15,000, let's say 10% is what, 1,500, 5% is 750. It was a good $600 extra I'm paying a year. I need to knock that thing out. I got lazy. Student loan debt made me lazy in regards to my financial acuity. What about you guys?
I'm gonna answer this question. Then I gotta hop off because I
Yeah.
gotta hop to the other part of the city for another soccer game.
Okay.
But I it did put things into perspective for me. Like I said, because now there was a bill that existed. Like I said, because I came out and I was still living at home, but now I have this bill that's coming directly in my name. And it was just like, you know, luckily I had this job coming out, but it did start to make me understand, okay, bills that are regular and you need to, get this thing going. But like you said, I forgot about that. Thank you for mentioning that about the deferment. The deferment, I was just like, especially when I started taking grad classes, I was just like, and I'm going to put this aside over here, pay directly on what I'm taking now, and that's how it still existed. The student loans from undergrad still existed for a little bit for a longer period, and but it made me think about bills and think about making sure that you're covered financially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peace, y'all.
All right. Thanks so much, Howard, for joining. Anybody else? What how has student debt affected your lifestyle? Or had when you had student debt? Shout out to Brian who don't have to. I guess it's just come on. Come on, you the only one left. Do you have Oh, we done. All four of us. All four of us. Listen, no student loan debt. Shout
I
out to all of us. I'm so proud
yeah.
of us.
But I will say this. In addition to what I had mentioned earlier about being very selective about where I chose to work and how much money I was being paid. I think that's a really important decision to make. But also, we have this thing in medicine where when new grads come out, we advise them to live like a resident for the first 3 to 5 years when you come out. And as a resident, you are paupers, okay? We're one of the
Pauper.
poor. We have no money. And it's not that you get a livable wage, but the amount of hours that you work compared to what you take home is really small, and you get enough to survive, but you're not balling. But if you come out of residency, and I get it, you just spent between 12 and 15 years to try to get to this point, and then you're saying I gotta still wait longer. That
Right.
was a very hard thing to do. Um, because I'm like, I like this delayed gratification. I'm ready now to like start living some life. And you can, I guess give yourself a little treat here and there, but you have to be very mindful. Live very a very basic lifestyle. Do not go and buy the doctor car. Don't go buy the doctor house, and just knock off those loans. That's how I was able to pay back. And I had almost $200,000 in loans, and I was able to get rid of that in 8 years.
Awesome.
There are other people who are able to who have done more than that in 3 to 5 years. Right? I think I was balling maybe a little bit, but earlier if I was a little bit more intentional about it. So even whether you're in medicine or any other field, I just recommend, once you start making, your big girl or your big boy money, don't inflate your lifestyle and just try to get rid of that debt. Because once you get rid of that debt, now you've gotten used to living a certain way. You actually have extra money to do other things, right? Now you can buy a house. Now you can invest. You can, save aggressively towards retirement and things like that. You can travel to, exotic locations, things that you couldn't do before. So, just try not to balloon everything right away.
And Kamoy be traveling.
Oh, yes, I do.
Kamoy listen, I want this to be actually a witness, because a lot of people feel like they don't go to school because they don't want to take out student loan debt. The answer is not take. None of us here went to school debt free. All four of us had student loan debt. So don't listen to people. Debt is about leverage. There is such thing as good debt. Now, a lot of debt is a problem, yes, but you can leverage debt. But first of all, don't take out more than you need. That's a critical piece, right? Take out what you need. But leveraging is important, especially people in STEM. I was taking 21 hours my first 2 years at Oakwood. We're taking a lot of hard science courses. We cannot afford to work and pay off our work and go to school at the same time. Not STEM. I'm sorry. And so many people try to do that, and then they struggle in school because they're not spending 2 hours. You got to spend 2 hours, an hour and a half a day on one STEM subject. So I was taking I was taking a higher level biology. I was taking genetics, organic chemistry, physics. I did not have time to work. I didn't. So I had to, because I needed to spend 2 hours a day on each of those. And I was teaching lab, maybe, I had a small little job. But my point is, debt was needed to basically finish fast. I finished at Oakwood in 4 years because I had debt. I did not take one class a semester and went to school. You can't do that because they're prerequisites. If you don't take this class, you won't be able to take this class. You won't, so you'll be slowed down. So in terms of timing, for many people who do not have a silver spoon, had to take out debt. But be thoughtful about your debt, paid off fast, and look how young we look. I mean, I know black don't crack, but we're still also pretty young. So this is a testament that you can pay off your debt. You can pay off your debt and still live well in your rest of your life. We're a testament that we're debt free. And only Bryant was the one that got the forgiveness. The rest of us had to work and pay off pull up ourselves by our own bootstraps. Bryant, you look, you want to say something?
I'm not ashamed to say that, this is like the Lord forgiving me of my sins. So
Hallelujah.
I accept the forgiveness. I
I'm not ashamed of the
laminated
gospel.
that piece of paper that I highlighted and I laminated. But you're right. I didn't I wasn't serious. And I'll tell people, if you're going to take loans, you need to be serious on your end because the loans are always going to be serious on their end. I
Yeah.
did 5 years at Oakwood. I shouldn't have done 5 years at Oakwood because I was taking classes and I wasn't putting in the time. I was
Yeah.
working or doing whatever it is I was doing, and I was withdrawing classes. I think my senior year, number five, I was taking freshman English. Number two,
Wow.
let me make sure it's not number one. Number two, I knew a little something, but still just having to redo things. So I tell anyone, if you're going to go that route, you don't just leave it up to you.
Yeah.
Write it down, talk to a financial planner, talk to the student loan office, talk to everybody you can because it's easy to make an emotional decision. I just need to get in school. I just need to do this and that. Not really thinking about once you graduate, that starts the clock for repaying those loans. I
Yeah.
remember that class at Oakwood. I believe it was in not Moran Hall, Mosley Complex. They had us all sitting there and was like, all right, we want you to know something. You graduate, your student loans start day one. And it was like, what? All right, whatever. They should
And
have
then
told us that freshman year, sophomore, junior, so that by the time we wasn't going to be surprised when that bill
listen.
comes in because again, I had 5 years at that time of student loans and it wasn't $100 and I only paid the interest and it was still at the time I think when I first started in the federal government I was making 21,500. That was in 2002. There was no way I was paying going to be able to afford $500 a month and living expenses. So when I did decide to go to graduate school and that refund came, somebody should have slapped my hand, said,
Yeah.
"No, put that either you're going to put that money aside or you're going to do something else." No. So
Put it
we
in a high
need,
yield.
yeah, make that money work for you
That's right.
because you will be working for it.
Yeah.
And luckily, a lot of us had the financial or had the what is it? I'm trying to think. It's had the not the decency, but had the intestinal fortitude to deny
Wherewithal.
self. Say, thank you, wherewithal, in order to deny self and say, until this is taken care of,
Yeah.
I can't do all this stuff until it is. Now, there are some like myself who didn't hear that, who didn't grow up in that environment. But I'm telling you, as someone who is recovered from over 20 years of having that debt on your shoulders, it's not, it has to get paid unless you are dead.
That's
It
right.
will be on your shoulders. It will stop you from being able to get the house that you want because of the amount of money that it costs.
Social
It's
Security.
going to stop you
They'll garnish
from
your check.
cars. They will do whatever they can. I'm luckily that didn't happen, but it did prevent me from doing some things that I wanted to do because it was even if you're not paying it, it's still being held against you. So pay it. Find a way, find the loophole, play the game. Do that rat race game if you have to. I don't own it, don't want to.
Cash flow.
Whatever. Do whatever you need, but I implore you as a generation that has gone through it
Yeah.
and with education costs skyrocketing now, 2 times, 3 times as much. Be very diligent in how you utilize that one option. It may not be the best, but it shouldn't be the first option. Try every which way you can before you sign your name down to those loans.
That's right. So like I said it before, Curtis reiterated what I said. Artificial intelligence, you need to use it. Notebook LM, do a diverse like a I can't remember what they call it, but you can do a deep research into the internet and they'll pull out everything for you. Um, Question: is pursuing a STEM degree still worth it financially with today's level of student debt? So to Bryant's point about it's 3 times to go to Oakwood now is 3 times more than when I went. It's unbelievably more expensive now than when I was in school. And really, I don't feel my parents are getting 3 times as much pay as they were in the 90s. So my mother would not have been able to afford to send me to Oakwood. And that's a sad situation. But what I will say is we need to find a way to help pay for each other's kids to go to school. Then, like, we need to start creating endowments for our kids to go to school. Number one, so this is a responsible. We gotta. I still want children to go to Oakwood. So there, but they can't afford. I would not think it's wise to pay $30,000 a year out of pocket for no undergraduate degree. Go to community college, get the first 2 years done. Go to dual enrollment. Those of you in high school, get your first 2 years done. And truthfully, I only needed 2 years out of Oakwood. True, the other 3 and 4 was okay, but it was I, I my freshman year was the bomb diggity, and the second year was awesome too. 3 and 4 is all good, but my point is universities are now pushing 3 year degrees, 90 credit degrees. Start looking out. Start looking out for those STEM 90 credit disease degrees. People are blowing me up I'm on my Apple, so my phone is connected to my anyway. So yes, pursuing a STEM degree is financially worth it. In my opinion, biology based degrees, life science based degrees, especially, um, is not going to go be disrupted by artificial intelligence. So get you. What y'all think? Yes, it is still worth it. It's still worth the student loans. However, I think you should go to community college first and only maybe pay 2 out of the 4 years. What do y'all think? And get those scholarships.
It's totally worth it. And I don't, I can't speak for the other areas of STEM, but I know for medicine, um, it's totally worth it. But I do think that it's not like you still have to have a strategy. Don't go in blindly. Get a mentor. Get some financial advice. And I don't know. It depends on who the financial advisor at your school is. A lot of them don't necessarily give the best advice, but get somebody who has your personal best interest at heart and who can guide you, and figure out a strategy about how you're going to get the education, the best education for the least amount, and then how you're going to pay the debt back afterwards. But I would still encourage it, absolutely.
Do it. Do it. Get the student loan debt. I'm serious. If 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 that's the only thing that's stopping you from being in school, no, I have students that say I'm not taking this class. I'm not in school for this semester because I want to work, raise money to then take that. No, leverage the debt. Debt is to be leveraged. How only if you're serious. Only if you're serious, and only if it's for relevant fields that can get you a job. And I'm saying this in the context of certain STEM. To be straight up with you, I would tell this generation to be extremely wise about the career choices that they're making. Back in the day, life is changing. Back in the day, you in my opinion could go to college and just explore. They're changing that dynamic. And honestly, I don't think the return on the investment is worth just exploring and failing and forcing your kids to do college because you went there. Listen, if your kid is going to flunk out of college, Don't send them. Don't take out a Parent Plus loan for a kid that does not want to go to college. You probably could have done that back in the days, and honestly, I don't think you could have. You should have, but not now. College is meant, for, in my opinion, for people who know where they want to go. In my opinion, now, and it's also meant for people who want to learn. In my opinion, it like if you don't want to higher education, don't go because it's the style. I don't think there's a return on investment. Anybody has any closing thoughts? But is a STEM degree worth it and the student loan? Absolutely. If I had a choice between not going to college and taking out student loan to go to college for a STEM degree, specifically in the life sciences, towards healthcare or something that's going to get me a good job in artificial intelligence, yes. If other than that, then maybe not. Any final thoughts? Nope.
Really, Bryant?
Bryant, you have no final thought?
That
Let me put you to the side. Well, we're 5 minutes out, so actually, I am the phenomenal STEMist. And so are they. Good night, everybody. Good night. Pay attention to your finances. Thank you guys for watching and commenting. And don't forget, oh, I forgot to say this. Don't forget, check out my prototype. If you want your kids to know what they're gifted in STEM, just go ahead to tenyearme.lovable.app or use this QR code. Find out what you're gifted in. Everybody is a STEM person. You guys have a good evening.